Hey, how are you? It's Lisa from Lisa MW back again after a bit of an absence. I tend to go in interesting little spurts where I have a lot to say and then I have nothing and it's quiet, which is very odd because as a child, my nickname was Motor Mouth. And so if you're a true motor mouth, you never run out of things to say. So perhaps I'm more of a tricycle mouth, like get going, then you dump the tricycle and you walk away. I don't know. Anyway, hello again. Today I thought I'd talk a little bit about conscious channeling, which is part of what I'm teaching in my Channel of the Light training group. And it's the pilot program. I'm so excited to teach it. And it really just sort of dropped in, which is how things work for me. I sort of was thinking about doing it in like 3 levels, like beginner, like introduction to channeling, and then a mid-level, and then and my guides and teachers, and guess one back here, they were like, no, immersive experience, 6 months, immersive experience. And the question really became, what's possible for you when you spend 6 months in the energy of trust, full and complete trust? So this group of marvelous humans, we meet every other week and we practice and we bring in guides and teachers so they can feel the energy. We'll be doing group channelings in there. And so they're really immersed in trusting themselves and they're supported by the energy of the others in the group. And we have all levels in there, people who have never really done it and people who are more comfortable with it and really want to elevate it to the next level. I think channeling is such a beautifully important skill. And I do think everyone can do it, but it does take practice and it does take trust. And it takes a willingness not to compare yourself really with anyone else and how they do it. And I've often said to my clients, Wendy Kennedy does light language and she does this beautifully. And when I first listened to it, my first experience with light language was that it was just someone going, and I thought, well, this is crap. Even as woo person as I am, I was like, no, that can't really be anything. So in the spirit of openness, I did listen to one of the meditations and I was doing something else while I was listening, playing a game or something. And it made me laugh because all of a sudden I could feel my energy shift and like I was laughing and smiling, just like someone was speaking to me. And I was enjoying the conversation and it cracked me up because my brain had no way of knowing what was being said at all. But on some other level, my soul, my third eye, my crown chakra, all of this up here, knew. And it was just so interesting to me. And so there are so many different ways to be a channel, right? So there's so many different ways. There's so much you can do with it. You don't have to be out in the public to do it. You can, do it just for your own benefit so that you have a very clear and trusted connection with your guides and teachers so that you know the energy. One of the things that I'm having my students do is that they chose a divine being, a high vibrational divine being to work with throughout this 6 months so that they are consistently partnering with one energy, one divine energy, so that they know it like that. Like for some reason, I just know when energies roll in, I can easily discern, oh, that's Prince, or that's Archangel Michael. I know their energy signatures. Apparently I took this course in another lifetime, but I wanted people to have one, almost like a baseline that they could say, okay, I know the energy of Archangel Michael and this energy is different. Okay, so who is this? And feel comfortable in being able to discern different energies. In fact, in our second class, I brought all the guides and teachers in one by one. And I had my students feel into or however their experience of that energy was. I just had them write it down and just brought another one in. And it was really an interesting experience to see how many people were like they would get a brush on their face or they would get it in the back of their neck. It was just a knowing or a feeling or something, and they're learning to put that together. So that's really important to me because that's the basis of everything. To be a clear channel, which is the most important thing, to be a clear channel means that you have to trust so that the message can come through you and it doesn't get stuck here where you're like, oh, I'm not going to say that. And it will sometimes, it will. But you really want to be able to kind of just let it flow. Whether you're writing it or you're speaking it or however you're doing it, you want to be able to just let it flow without that judgment. So in order to do that, you really have to trust that you've created that space for that work to be done. Right now, I don't call it protection because I hate that word. You've created a space with your own boundaries and your own way of doing it. And then you are able to, sorry, something popped up on the screen. And then, so you've created a space for your own, you know that space is sacred. That's what it is. And you're not just going to have randos just popping into your space because we're not having that. You're completely sovereign in your energy. So you say who comes in and out of your space. In fact, while we were working with one of our, in the class with our guide and teacher, our divine being, another divine being came into someone's space and she could feel it. And so when we were talking about it later, I said, you know, the thing is, whether it's a divine being or not, if you did not invite that being in explicitly, then you ask it to leave. Even if it's a helpful being, you have control over that space and you have to learn that you have control. You don't just have to accept it. So I said, if that should happen again, you genuinely and with love invite them to depart. Thank them for showing up and say, I didn't invite you in. And would you mind going, and we'll talk another time. So I think it's interesting to look at, you know, where are you able to keep control over your space? And that's an important thing to me because that helps you feel safe and that's what helps you trust. And the other piece about it is that you really do have to be working through your own stuff to be a clear channel, because boy, do we all come with a lot of judgments and thoughts about things. And when you work with the divine realm, they don't exist there. So if you get that, if you're channeling something and you get a judgment, that's not them, that's you. And so you really have to learn to kind of filter that stuff out and bring through the clear stuff. So this is my pilot program. I'm so excited to be teaching it. My hope is that I will run it again as a real non-pilot program, probably in maybe the early summer. It's a 6-month program. It is pretty intense, I will say that, but I love it. I just love it. And it's really what I'm here to do, is to be a channel myself and to help others learn that ability. And again, you don't have to be a professional channel to do that work. And you don't even have to use the word channel. All you're doing is creating a reliable connection to bring through that guidance for yourself, for others, professionally, for the world, however you want to do it. All you're doing is creating that space that you can trust. That's it. Anyway, it was so good to talk with you guys again, and I'll be back soon. I'm sure I'll find more things to talk about eventually. Take care. Talk to you later. Bye for now.